In this video, I'm going to review Perfinsights for troubleshooting Azure VM performance issues. Hello everyone, I'm Travis and this is Seraltos. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to Perfinsight, a performance analysis tool for Azure VMs. Before we move forward, please don't forget to support these videos by subscribing. It lets me know that people are watching and appreciating these videos. Let's move on. One of the things I enjoy about working with Azure is that I'm always learning new things. Sometimes I learn about things that have been around for a while, but I had no idea they existed. That's the case for Perfinsights. Perfinsights has been available for a while. It's a tool used to gather information to troubleshoot performance issues on Azure VMs. It also provides insights information on servers, giving suggestions on updates or other steps to better utilize Azure VMs. The tool is currently in preview. If you're having performance issues on a VM, Microsoft support will likely request diagnostic information from this tool. It can be ran from the portal or installed directly on the VM. This video is going to go over the portal option. Perfinsights is found under Performance Diagnostics in the VM Blade. It's available for both Linux and Windows VMs. There are 4 options for running Perfinsights on Windows, and 2 of those options are available for Linux VMs. I'm going to review the 4 and then give a demo of setting a couple of them up and reviewing the data that it outputs. The first is Quick Performance Analysis. This gathers and analyzes all the options you see on the screen. Notice that if the server has Microsoft SQL configuration settings will be analyzed as well. This simply collects information and will not affect performance while it's running. Performance analysis does everything in quick performance, along with monitoring high resource consumption, SQL counters if SQL is installed, and will troubleshoot general performance issues. The analysis can be set to run from 30 seconds to 15 minutes. Advanced performance analysis is only available for Windows VMs and will potentially impact performance. There is an option to trace using Xperf, Network Trace, or Support Trace. Enabling these options will increase the file size but gives you more detailed information. Azure File Analysis does all that's in Performance Analysis plus SMB Traffic Trace. This is only available for Windows VMs as well. The best way to understand the tool is jump in and show you. So with that, let's start the demo. Okay, buckle up everyone, it's demo time. In this demo, I'm going to start by doing a quick performance analysis on a Windows VM, and then I'm going to move over and do a performance analysis on a Linux VM. And then after that, I'm going to do the advanced performance analysis on the Windows once again. And then we're going to look at the reports that come out of all that. So let's hop over to a virtual machine. And I've got 2 of them here. I've got test 1 and test 2. Test 1 is a Windows VM. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the VM Blade, and I'll scroll down here to, let's see where it is. There it is, Performance Diagnostics. Before I start this, I want to direct your attention to the settings option here. The only option I have for settings is to name a storage account. If you don't do this, it'll create a storage account on its own, that's fine. But if you want to change storage accounts, you can do that. And I'm going to come in here and let's see, I had one set up. And here it is, the CIR Perfinsights 01. So I'll select that. I know it's blurred out, but that's the one selected. So then I'll click OK. And it tells me that I've changed the storage account. The next thing I'm going to do is install Performance Diagnostics. And I do that by clicking right there. Now this can be installed through the template or pushed out as an extension, but for running quick diagnostics, I'm just going to run it straight from the portal. So here it asks me if I want to run the diagnostics. I guess if I go back, I could uncheck this and just install it. There it goes, so now it's installing. And once it's done installing, I'll come back and we'll run a quick analysis on this. Okay, and we're back. So that finished. Now I'm going to run the diagnostics. And I'm going to choose the option Quick Performance Analysis. But as you can see, I've got multiple options. I've got Quick Performance Analysis, Advanced Performance Analysis, and Azure File Analysis. So I'm going to leave it as Quick Performance Analysis. If I had a symptom, I could enter it in. I don't though, so I'll leave that blank. And if there's a support request number, so if you have a case open with Microsoft, you could add it here. Now I don't have that. So I'm going to click on the acknowledge, and you have the option to share diagnostic information with Microsoft. I'll just leave that checked. and then I'll click OK. So this is the quick performance. It should just take a few seconds, hence the name Quick Performance. Okay, and it finished. It did take a little bit, but not too long. Now I can go in and look at my performance diagnostics by clicking on the link. Here you can see I have some insights. This is telling me that I have some settings that I may want to take a look at, and it links to the knowledge base. I'm going to leave that for now. But what it's not really doing is giving me a lot of details on performance. So to enable to get that, I'm going to download the report. And here's the report. I'll just unzip it. And if I open up the report, it's in HTML format. Here it's giving me that insights again about the knowledge base. But if I go into run information, it just gives me some details on the VM name and some other interesting information, when it started, when it finished. Machine information, you can see the size that I have, the location, subscription ID. I'll probably have all this blocked out for you, but you get the point. So I'm going to go over to CPU, and here it's telling me again about the settings that I might want to take a look at, and the top CPU consumers. There really isn't any because this is a machine just kind of sitting idle. Top memory consumers, there's really not a whole lot of information. I can get some disk information, some volume maps. This is all good stuff, but really not a whole lot to look at. So we're going to run a more advanced report here in a minute and hopefully get some good information. Here you can see disk utilization graph. So we can get some performance data on the disk. Let's check network. There we go. We have some firewall information, netstat information, IP config. So this is all good stuff to have. And this would be a good report just to run after deploying a VM to get some system information just for a history. But let's close that out. You can do this on your own and download that and take a further look at it. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the other virtual machine. Here again, I'm going to come down to Performance Diagnostics. And I'm going to uncheck this again and install the Performance Diagnostics. And I'm unchecking that this time because I'm going to put a little bit of a load on this server before I run the diagnostics to see if maybe that turns up some interesting information. Okay, so I'm going to run diagnostics now that that's installed. So here, there's only two options. Because this is a Linux virtual machine, as I said earlier, there's only two options available: quick performance and performance analysis. So I'm going to select performance analysis, and I'm going to have this run for, let's say, I don't know, let's say probably only need it for 180 seconds. And then I'm going to click here. But before I kick this off, before I get this started, I'm going to run a tool on the server called StressNG. Let's hop over to that server now. And to be honest, I just found this command online. StressNG is a tool that just simulates a load on the server. So if I enter that, it's going to kick off the test, and I should be able to hop over to the actual overview page of that VM. And we'll give it a second, see if it turns up some higher CPU usage. Okay, here we go. So now we're getting some load on the CPU. So I'm going to hop back to Performance Diagnostics. And I'm going to run the diagnostics. And again, we'll go down and select Performance Analysis and drop it back to 180. I'll select that box and click OK. So we'll give this 3 minutes to run, and I'll come back to it once it's finished. The test finished. Let's hit refresh, and we should be able to see it. There it is. Now if we go in, we'll take a look at that. No insights were found. Nothing here to really look at. So I'm going to download the report. And this one did run a little bit longer, so it is going to have a little bit more data. You can see it is a tar file, so let's just use 7-zip to unzip that. And we'll unzip the tar file. There we go. Being a Linux VM, it did come down as a tar file instead of a zip file. Here again, not really a whole lot to see, no findings. Let's take a look at run information. So again, we can see the OS type, we can see the Perfinsights version, the command line that it ran. We've got some machine information, all pretty interesting stuff. Again, great if you want to keep track of what's on there. If we go into top CPU consumers, we can take a look at what was running. And as you'd expect, stress-ng is the one that's taking up all the resources. And if we look at top memory consumers, so it looks like it didn't find any high memory usage. Let's take a look at storage. We can go through and look at the different partitions, the block devices, mount points, all this good stuff. We can go over to network, get some networking information. I'm not going to go through each line of this, of course, it'd take too long, but you get the point. A lot of good information that you can take a peek at, and if you are having performance issues on a VM, either Linux or Windows, this will give you a good point of reference to start digging in and see what the problem is. That was quick performance analysis and performance analysis, and now I think we're going to do an advanced performance analysis. I'm going to do that again on the Windows VM. I'm going to hop over to that Windows VM and I'm going to run a program called Heavy Load. Here it is, right on the desktop. And what this does is it just generates a load. Again, it's similar to stress-ng, only a Windows version. So if I hit go, it should start up here in a second and start consuming a lot of resources. There it goes, it's launched, and let's go back over to the portal. We're going to go into virtual machines. Let's take a look at test 1. And in the overview section, we should see here in a couple seconds, it's going to report pretty high CPU usage. Here we go, now it's generating a load. So that's a pretty good CPU utilization. Now let's go into performance diagnostics. There it is. And I'm going to run it one more time. I'm going to run diagnostics. This time I'm going to select advanced performance analysis. And I'll just do it at 180. I think you'd probably want to go a little bit longer in production. But I'm just going to do 180 for this. I'll leave performance counters on. I'm going to enable xperf. And I'm going to do that to all of these. Network trace, I want to see what I get, and support trace. And just to repeat what I said earlier, this will impact performance on the VM. So if you're running this in production, you might want to keep that in mind. And I'll click OK, and we'll give it 3 to 4 minutes to finish. Performance analysis just finished, and I should warn you that took over 25 minutes to run. I think it could potentially be because I'm maxing out the CPU on that server, which probably didn't help things, but it does take a lot longer than the quick performance analysis. So let's go in and take a look at what it found. It found a couple things. So yeah, it's the same setting enabled that we saw before. And it also is saying that there's a high CPU usage detected. So that's good. I mean, it's at least finding what I did to it. So great, let's download the report. Those are the only insights that it had. There it goes. I'll just close this. We'll come back here and I'll unzip it. And let's look at the Perfinsights report. So here are the two findings it found from insights. We can go into run information. That's all going to be the same as we saw before. CPU, it's warning that there's a high CPU condition. And if we go into top CPU consumers, we should be able to see that heavy load is the one taking up all the processor. And it certainly is. Now we'll go to memory. And there it found heavy load is again taking up all the memory, which is what I would expect. No findings for storage. It's showing us our drive, volume mappings. There's no storage pool. Here are disk consumers. And we can go down and look at some of the graphs on the disk. Not a whole lot to report on network, but it's all here. And then we'll go into Windows and more of the same. Before we go though, I do have one more thing. I'm going to go into the virtual machines and I'm going to uninstall the performance agent. So I'll click on install. I'll go over to VM2 and I'll do the same. And I'll uninstall. Here I am back at test 1 and I uninstalled. It's back to where we started. But what if I wanted to review those logs? Let's say for whatever reason I forgot to download them or I deleted them and I want to review those performance analysis logs. I can still get to them if I go back to that storage account I selected before I installed the agent. Here's the storage account that I set up. And if I go into blobs, and there, you can see there's only 2 because I only set this up for the Windows VM. I didn't do it on the Linux. So if you do happen to delete or you need to get these back after uninstalling the agent, you still have them available in the storage accounts. That's it for the demo. That's how to do a quick performance analysis, and an advanced performance analysis on Windows and Linux VMs. I know I didn't go into detail on the reports very well, but that wasn't really the point of this demo. I recommend that you run your own performance analysis and review the output from that to understand the reports better. Here's my thoughts on Perfinsights. It's a useful tool for viewing detailed performance data at a given point in time. However, the actual information is nothing new from a troubleshooting standpoint. It has been available in tools like Perfmon for a long time. Any performance troubleshooting should start with analyzing CPU, disk, RAM, and network and drill down from there to find the issue. Perfinsights helps gather that information, check for Azure Insights information, and presents it all in a way that's easy to view and share. It also makes sending data to Microsoft support really easy. Perfinsights is a useful tool and definitely worth keeping in mind for quickly analyzing performance information. I hope you found this useful. Please don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.